Hello everyone and welcome back to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. Today basically we have only one significant article that is from the Hindu, and the title of this article is Making the Language of the Law Comprehensible. Basically in this article the author tries to tell the amalgamation that we need to have between firstly the languages that are used legally by the government, which is mostly English and Hindi only, whereas the 22 official languages that are available in the 8th schedule to the Constitution, and how much is it important for us to understand the significance of all the 22 languages equally. And then secondly, we have the news and flash column, wherein we'll be discussing the crisp news articles specifically for a prelims exam. Let's have a look at the LawSikho courses that we have for you. We have the Law of the courses, which is the Judiciary Test Prep course. So if you're also preparing for the Judicial Services exam, you can definitely enroll yourself for this course. The link to this course is there in the description box. Also, you can avail free study material for yourself, which has been very amazingly drafted for all the aspirants of Judicial Services. Then we have various other courses like for CLAT, All India Bar Exam, etc. And then we are also very shortly coming up with UPSC Law Optional course as well. So you may have a look at it too. With this, let's see that what is the multiple choice question for the day. The novel Burnt Sugar has been authored by, so recently this author also has been nominated for the Booker Prize 2020. So who is the author of this novel Burnt Sugar? Firstly, Avni Doshi. Second, Shashi Tharoor. Third, Salman Rushdie. Or fourth, none of the above. So if you know the answer to this question, do jot it down in the comment section below. Then here is the descriptive question for the day. In order to call India a true democracy that functions on the lines of unity in diversity, it is necessary to give equal respect to all the official languages of India. Discuss. So the answer to this question must be written within a word limit of 250 to maximum 300 words. With this, let's start with the discussion for the first article and the only article for the day, which talks about the linguistic diversity and the language of the law. First, let's understand as to why this issue has been into news altogether in this time. Basically, the publishing of the Draft Environmental Impact Assessment Notification 2020. Now, as we know that earlier we used to follow the earlier notification, but now the draft of the EIA notification has been given, and it has also been criticized due to various other things, new provisions that have been added, and the older ones that have been removed for so and so. That is a different topic altogether. We have also discussed in our previous sessions. So basically this draft of the EIA notification was only available in Hindi and English. And that is why it has been challenged in the courts on grounds that such a policy, because obviously basically what happens is that whenever any kind of policy or any kind of notification rules or such things that are brought into public domain for public to say opinion or for the public to comment upon it, it is obviously very necessary that the notification or the rules are in that language which people can understand. Now, obviously, if there is a notification or there are some rules which people just cannot understand, how will they be able to find out the merits or demerits or agree or disagree with that notification? And similarly, in the EIA case also, the notification was issued only in Hindi and English, and that is why it was challenged in the courts on the ground that such a policy excludes a large number of Indians who do not speak either of the languages. So, of course, what about the non-Hindi and non-English speakers in the country? What will they be doing, and how will they be able to understand a notification as important as the environmental impact assessment? Now, let's understand that what is the justification given by the government from their side as to why they did not include any other language and only issued the notification, or they actually regularly issue such notifications only in Hindi and English. So firstly, the government says that translation into 22 languages, that are the 22 official languages as per the 8th schedule of the Constitution. So the government says that the translation into 22 languages may result in the meaning of the words being obfuscated and often even lost, resulting in greater legal uncertainty. Now here the government says that obviously if you would like try to convert or translate the main text, which was actually drafted either in Hindi or English, and if you would like to translate into other 22 official languages, it might tend to change the meaning of the exact words, and the exact legal meaning of the words might be twisted, which might create a lot of what we call as legal uncertainty. Then Secondly, they say that the Official Languages Act 1963 requires the publication of law in only English and Hindi. And thirdly, and these are the basic two arguments, but then here are the counter arguments that are available against these two stances that are taken by the government. Firstly, the authoritative text Central Laws Act 1973 provides that it creates a legal mechanism to recognize authoritative translations of all central laws in languages under Schedule 8 of the Indian Constitution. So at one side, where the government is quoting the Official Languages Act 1963, saying that the publication is required only in English and Hindi, on the contrary, we also have the authoritative text Central Laws Act 1973, according to which such authoritative translations, that as in those translations or those drafts or any kind of publications or notifications that are coming from the side of any authority of the central law, must be provided in all the official languages as provided under the 8th schedule. So this is a counter argument available. Then if we try to understand and try to link the power of language in association with the Indian politics, we can very much see that language has had a very, very, very important role to play in the Indian politics. And in a way, many a times when we talk about the regional policies and the regional politics that goes on in our country, it is significantly based on the language only. Like, for example, the reorganization of the Indian states in 1956. Now, as we know that India was not like this at the time of the independence and at the time of constitution was framed. It was fragmented into various bits and pieces, various small provinces, and many were amalgamated together and some were also separated to form different states. So the reorganization of Indian states it occurred in 1956, and there have been various acts of the reorganization that have taken place. So it introduced as a result of the agitation. This was introduced as a result of the agitation following death of Poti Shriramulu in 1952, who had actually fasted for 56 days, and after that he actually, he passed away, and he fasted for providing a different state for the Telugu-speaking people of Madras Presidency. And after his death, it was heard, and through reorganization of Indian States Act, new state was formed. Then parties associated with linguistic pride in India include the very, very famous DMK party, which is the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam party. Then we have the Telugu Desam party, and obviously the Shiv Sena, which is prominent in Maharashtra, the Marathi-speaking party. So this is the text of the 8th schedule of the Constitution. You may go through it, and these are the 22 languages that are considered to be as the official languages of under the Indian Constitution. Now here the parties failed to convince Parliament to ensure central laws in all 22 languages. Now, as we know that these parties are not just minor parties, they have good influence, they must have, at least we can say, a good influence in the Parliament, but it seems that they have not been very successful in convincing the Parliament altogether to ensure that the central laws are available in all 22 languages, because even currently what we have is only in English and Hindi, and an inclusive language policy must be integral to the lawmaking and enforcement process. Now, if when we go through the Indian Constitution, then we also get to know that whenever anybody is arrested or anybody is there is any arrest, even in the CRPC as well in Indian Constitution, from Article 20 to 22, it is provided that if that person is arrested, he should be intimated the reasons why he has been arrested, and it is specifically mentioned that the reasons should be communicated to him in a language that he understands. Now, for example, if you have arrested a person who is a Marathi speaking person or who is a Punjabi speaking person and does not understand Hindi or English, and you have communicated the reasons for his arrest in English or Hindi, do you really think that this is a real communication that we can say? This is merely speaking. Communication can be said only when the other party has also received what you said. So for that, it is important that the other party understands the language in which you have spoken, and then it forms a good and valid conversation or a communication. And similarly, an inclusive language policy must be there, and it must be an integral part of our lawmaking and enforcement processes. And also currently, only the Unique Identification Authority of India, which is the UIDAI, which is associated with the Aadhaar card, only that an inclusive language policy is available, and in that you can have your Aadhaar card and your credentials written in the language that you understand. But apart from that, there is no central law or central policy that is going on which inculcates all the 22 official languages of India. Let's now understand that what is the judiciary, what has the judiciary to say about it. So if we talk about the judiciary or court stance or the precedents that we have that we can look up to, so the Supreme Court in the case of Harla versus State of Rajasthan in 1951 ruled that citizens are not bound by laws which have not been published and communicated properly, so which have not been published properly. So for example, now if a law, even if you can take the example of this environmental impact assessment. So as we know that this draft of this EIA policy notification has been published only in English and Hindi. So definitely there is a huge population of India that is still left who cannot understand English and Hindi. So if we take this case to be as the precedent, practically and ideally, people who did not understand the text of this notification due to the barrier of the language, they would not be bound to follow this notification. This would be so dramatic and disastrous if it is taken ad verbum, or it is taken or it is followed up completely, because like this, most of the text and legal text will not be followed in India because they're not available in the local and official languages. And that is why over here the citizens, the court says that they're not bound. So it says that natural justice requires that before a law can become operative, it must be promulgated, or it must be facilitated or brought in or published. So it must be broadcast in some recognizable way so that all men may know what it is. So this is something really, if we really look up to this precedent, then it is very, very ideal that the government should publish all the legal notification and central authorities notification in all the 22 languages. Now, to support this idea, we also have a very beautiful example that comes from the international world, which is the example of the European Union. So if we talk about the European Union, it has a multilinguistic jurisdiction. As we know that there are a lot of languages and approximately 24 official languages. They have 24 official languages, and they make sure that each and every text that comes out from the European Union is available in all the 24 official languages, because they believe that it is through the linguistic dignity and also through respecting all the official languages that we can form a unified union. And that is why they have been so successful in the at the global level as well. So that is why this policy allows all the EU nationals to communicate with European Union institutions in any of the 24 official languages. So it is high time that we consider the same thing in India as well. And since we so proudly take the claim to be to be unity in diversity and to be respecting each segment and community of our country, so if we really do, so we should look up to it in the practical sense as well, and we should come up with all the notifications and government drafts or government rules to be coming up in all the 22 official languages. With this, let's discuss what we have in the news in flash today. Avni Doshi nominated for Booker Prize. So here you might have your answer for the MCQ. So Dubai-based Indian origin author Avni Doshi has been shortlisted for 2020 Booker Prize for her debut novel Burnt Sugar, along with other authors. So the rest of the shortlist includes The New Wilderness by Diane Cook, This Mournable Body by Siti Dangaremba, please pardon me. The Shadow King by Maza Mengiste, Shugi Bain by Douglas Stewart, and Real Life by Brandon Taylor. So these are all the names. You do not need to remember all the names, but once the results are announced, then we must really know that who has been actually the winner of 2020 Booker Prize. And then secondly, Lok Sabha passed J&K official languages bill. The bill provided for the inclusion of Kashmiri, Dogri, and Hindi apart from the existing Urdu and English as the official languages on the Union Territory of J&K. So now we have in totality 5 official languages running over there. So Dogri is spoken by 26.64% of the population, whereas only 0.16% of and 2.36% speak the other languages that we are considering of Urdu and Hindi. And that is why it was a very good step to include Dogri as well in the official languages. So yes, this was all for today. We hope it was a good and informative session for you all. Thank you so much, and stay tuned with LawSikho for such more sessions to come. Thank you.